Just gonna do the worst lesson ever. Keith, what's going on? Happy Monday. Bonnie, Jim, it is a happy Monday. I look forward to this. I do. I really do. I was just watching Lee Sklar, and I think he's doing like some kind of membership thing or something. People can pay $10 to get extra content. Lee Sklar is a bass player, played with everybody. And he actually, like so many musicians that I know, and I know Lee. He's the guy with the big white beard and long white hair, kind of balding, but big white beard that plays with James Taylor. He plays with Phil Collins, and he had the whole year booked out, completely booked out. I have a friend that also sings with Phil Collins, sings backgrounds for Phil Collins, and he also, with other artists, he had the whole year booked out, and everything got canceled. And so all that work, and these guys, at that level, those gigs pay pretty good. I don't know exactly what they pay. Not as good as they did, say, in the 80s and 90s for the top gigs. Those were different times. There were some, I know, I've heard some numbers that were pretty astonishing from the, like, Madonna and like Michael Jackson tours and things like that, where it's like, holy cow. And the part of the problem with doing that and, getting so much per week on a tour is that after you're done with that, it really is hard to do those $50 gigs. And I've never really done a tour with an artist. I did clinics. I traveled around the country, even a little bit in Canada and in South Korea, doing clinics. And I toured with a jazz saxophonist. I touched my face, so take a sip. Make sure you have a libation. We're going to be taking lots of sips today. But I toured Japan for a couple weeks with a jazz saxophone player. We did gospel music and jazz music, and that was a lot of fun. I didn't pay great. I didn't really make any money on it. But the rates now that tours pay, even for the bigger artists, isn't very good because they are running so many tracks on these. Not with like Phil Collins wouldn't do it, James Taylor wouldn't do it. There are no tracks on those shows. But the pop artists, the pop gigs that used to pay, 5 figures a week to play in the bands, those used to pay. They used to be great, but they, now that they have the pop artists, so many of them like Beyonce and Bieber, and so many use tracks. I know on the Believe tour, Bieber used, was it Believe? Yeah, Believe tour used tracks. On the Purpose tour, he let the band do most of the playing, I think. I'm sure they still have to have everything set up, hooked to MIDI. They still got to do the songs exactly as rehearsed, because the lighting cues are all set up and everything, all the pyrotechnics or whatever, all that stuff is all synced up to the, I don't know that it's MIDI anymore, but it's synced up to, the software programs that they run the shows with. So oftentimes there'll be at least a click and count offs. If you've ever worked with Ableton Live for churches, you'll know that in your ear, it'll be like verse 2, 3, 4, and then you go to the verse, and then it says chorus 2 through. And I really don't like that. I did a gig with Israel Houghton, who's a Christian worship leader, played with us at church with us last October. And he wanted to bring his band, but we were like, no, you got to use our band. And I don't think he was happy about that, but it went really well, and he was happy ultimately. But he did bring his music director, who played second keys, and he had a microphone, and he was telling us what was going to happen next. And he was playing keys, second keys, and controlling Ableton. So if Israel skipped a whole verse and went right to a chorus and was like, he was, what was his name? Dang, I know his name, but anyway. He clicked, got right to the verse. He said, "We're jumping to the verse. He was even like, snare, 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 snare when he wanted the snare on all four beats, things like that to the drummer. But everybody's hearing all that. He's got he had like a headset mic, and we could hear everything he said. And it was cool. I mean, I think that's a lot of music directors, a lot of situations they do that. But anyway, yeah, Lee Sklar had all of his shows canceled this year, and it's just a real drag for. I mean, hopefully, I'm sure most of these guys, they've got savings, and they've got. Lee might even be already on his musician's pension, which probably pays pretty good. So we've got a lot of people here. We've got a lot of regulars. Max is here, Bonnie, Diane, Dennis, Jim Horst, Bob Schumann. Good to see you. AJ, awesome to see you. Ed is here. Gary, Moses in the house. Let's see, Charlie B. Hey, Charlie B, how's it going? No worry, you're good. Let's see. Now, like I said, I've never done those tours. I don't know if I ever wanted to. I really came out here to be a session guitar player. And I know enough touring guys that they would kind of lament the fact that they would lose a lot of session work when they left town, and then people wouldn't know they were back in town, so they wouldn't get calls when they were just sitting around doing nothing, because people stopped calling because they weren't at home. I did a session with a sax player that played. I wish I could remember his name, but I did a session with a sax player that played with Neil Diamond, and he was one of the first. This is a long time ago. He was one of the first guys I ever knew that had a cell phone, and he said it is gold. He goes, I get phone calls when I'm on the road. And I know when I'm going to be back, and they ask me, when can you do a session? And I say, I can. Oh, see, I'm busy until Saturday. He flies back Friday night. He's like, and so he was able to book sessions while he was touring. And no one knew he was on the road. It was kind of one of those things. Because again, way before social media, no one would have seen him, tagged on any Neil Young or Neil Diamond, photos or anything like that. So, Eric, what's going on, man? Good to see you. I think I've shouted out almost everybody I see, at least in the live chat. If you're not chatting, that's totally fine. If you're watching on your phone, I think it's can you chat if you're on your phone watching this or your iPad? Or is this only desktop version that you can chat on? I'm trying to think. I know you can see the chat. Hey, Frank. Leo's here. Good, Leo. Yep. But the reason I think that the younger musicians aren't getting paid as much to tour with the major pop artists is, again, like I said, they have Ableton running. A lot of times they're just up there to look pretty. And they may just even choose bands based on their look, musicians based on their look. I've had friends that got gigs because they were of a certain race and they needed them for TV, for the Tonight Show or something. They wanted an all-Asian girl band, literally. I've seen that happen. And they're not playing. It's tracks, they're pretending to play. And they're all good musicians. They wouldn't get the gig. But I never knew the people, I never knew that there was actually an organization in LA, and I still don't know who it is, but there's a company that will help you find placements. And I think that so many of the kids today that are doing it are coming out of Musicians Institute in Hollywood, and they're just coming out in droves, and there's so many of them now that they all drive down the wages. So where, typical numbers I'm hearing like $2,500 a week, which is great, but for me, it's not like I wouldn't want to leave town for that much, because then how much work would you lose and not get back? People tend to replace you when you're not around to do what you normally do. So that's and no one's calling me anyway because I'm an old fart. So people keep going, why don't you go out with Justin Bieber? And I'm like, he's never gonna ask me to go out with him. It's pretty funny. I was like, yeah, no. And one of the things I'll have to tell you that I don't like is, do you have any tips on getting out of a rut when trying to learn a piece prior to the next lesson? Well, mean, AJ, I would record yourself. I would videotape yourself and listen to it and see where you're at. Videotaping is really good because it kind of lets you. For one thing, it helps you deal with a little bit of nerves if you know the video is rolling. I think that's always good because it's kind of like being in front of an audience, but not really. The other thing, in fact, I think I made that suggestion. I need to do another tips for for beginners or for players in general. But I could probably do a video like things I wish I knew. I'm still conceptualizing. I think what I'm going to do with my lessons. And I think it's a pretty good niche. I think I'm going to be able to find a niche for it. In fact, I got to write this down before I forget. My brain is so fried right now. I think I'm going to call them very easy guitar lessons. I think so it's going to be super duper basic. So I'm sure a lot of people will go, oh my gosh, this is so easy. But there are a lot of people that are like, I can't even push a fret down, So it's going to be that easy in the first lesson. Second, it's going to be real slow to build. And, I expect it to be 50 lessons, And some of them you may be able to go through a lesson, like 5 of them a day, the beginners would. So that's what I'm thinking. But it also, as far as getting out of a rut, my biggest problem with pieces when I was taking lessons in college was there would always be a section of the piece, and I'm talking about classical guitar pieces here. There would always be a section that just stumped me. I mean, there was the Villalobos piece that had that one run in it where the whole time, if you got the pattern down. I don't have a thumbnail right now, but anyway, and my cat scratched me. I have cat scratch fever. Because I was playing with her. It was my fault. But I thought I was at a safe distance, but she got me good. And then, there's one section where I just had to literally play it 1,000 times. And then when I got to it, it never freaked me out. I never had pause. Oh, okay. Catherine. Oh, yeah, you're right. I think if you're on the YouTube app, you might be able to continue to on the. You're right. Yeah, that makes sense. So who else is here now? Anybody new? I'm gonna get going. Sorry, I'm taking my time here. Yes, it's a nice day today, but it's gonna start getting hot. We're gonna hit the 90s later this week. Yeah, video, Gary. You're right. Video really does help you see where you are struggling, where you're hesitating. Your body language is really important, your ergonomics, all that stuff. So, okay. I was going to ask if Pepper will probably log on when she's done with the lesson if we're still going. Hey, Peter, how's it going? Good to see you, man. Pita, probably saying it totally wrong. Dennis Purdy, lurking as always. Okay, yeah, thanks, Dennis. I got to get my footrest out so you can see my guitar better. I was going to ask Bonnie who her favorite stand-up comedian. I mean, not Bonnie. I'm sorry. I was going to ask Pepper who her favorite stand-up comedians are, because she does. If you haven't, look up Pepper. It's pretty funny. It's fun to see somebody do stand-up. The amateurs. It's a hard. I mean, that's like, I have more respect in the arts in the arts community for stand-up comedians than anybody, because if it's not going well, right away. Whereas, I can play a song. If I'm happy with what I play, I don't care what the audience thinks, unless they're throwing tomatoes or something. But never had that happen. You guys should do digital tomatoes. Can you throw tomatoes at me here? Dry bar comedy, exactly. So we're gonna learn I'm gonna show you 2 major scales today. And Ionian scales. Remember, we learned about the modes way back in lesson number 13, I think is when we started modes. We did like 5 days on modes. And I love that lesson. I want to redo that lesson at some point for my YouTube channel and just have it up there so it can be found a lot easier. I don't know. Tomatoes, there they are. I'm getting pelted. Jim's totally pelting. Hey, Mark, how's it going? Frank's pelting me with tomatoes. Let's see. Let me pull up that. Let me see if those are getting any worthy spins. Because they are searchable. I did put tags on them and things like that. Let's see. Videos. Oh, search across my channel. Okay, modes. Show all. Does it say numbers? Yeah, it says views. Let's get further down here. What? No, I said show all. Weird. Oh, live. I'm sorry. Those were not live stream. Okay. I don't have any recent. Yeah, like 600, 700, 700, 600, 900 views. So the first modes lesson has 900 views, 928. What are the likes versus dislikes? I do really like that lesson, though. If you haven't watched it, you can go back and watch those and understand modes a little bit. Because they do come into play. I mean, we are going to do... we're going to do 2 modes here. But today we're going to do major, and then Wednesday we're going to do Mixolydian. And so the chord progression that we're kind of playing over is this kind of the bluegrass thing. I just played it very fast, but that's basically the progression. So 1, 4, 5. So we have G, which is the 1. We're in the key of G, so G is the 1. And then if you count up the G major scale, you get G, A, B, C is the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The C chord is built on the C, the 4th degree of the scale. The 5th degree of the scale, using music E's terminology, is D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. G, A, B, C, D. And if you were to build a chord based on that note, meaning stack some thirds up here, man, everybody's like, what's tomato's the new thing? All right. Oh, will you show that? Oh. Did I not do that? Oh. You know what? I need to print up some more of these charts too. What the heck? Oh, you're right. I didn't do that, did I? Oh, wow, that's where the heck is that page though? Oh, you know what? It's probably on the scanner. Yes. Okay, you're right. All right. So I'm being called out. Okay. Hey, Patrick. Tomato pie. That is not... Oh, that's an Irish bouzouki. Yes, it is a gold tone. Yes, Andrew. Yes. I bought it because I wanted to have a bass mandolin, but then I realized the scale's too long and I can't tune the D string on top up to E. I didn't try, but I just felt like the strings were really tight. So I'm going to have to buy a bass mandolin. But I have I have one composer in particular that writes a lot of low mandolin stuff. And so you can't tune down a mandolin. And I don't want him to rewrite it. I want to be able to play what he sends me. So that's why I bought it. And I can still play. If I just think mandolin on the bottom 3 strings, I'm good. It's a top string that kind of throws me off a little bit. Okay, so I'll do the hybrid thing right now. Okay, that Leo, so you got that. Okay. So the D minor pentatonic was this, and the D major one would have been D major pentatonic would have been. We did do the D major, right? Yeah. Where was that? Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, but yeah, I think we'll have it'll be interesting, but I'll do that right now. Hopefully I won't mess up. Your wish is my command. So, and then I'm going to hit the major scales. Hey, somebody write down the formula for a major scale. Okay? What's the formula for a major scale? All right, so we have E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. There's no G. Oh, there is a G in the minor. B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. All right. Leo, get ready to just do a screenshot for now. I'll scan it and post it. I apologize. I should have finished that last week. I just ran out of time. Yeah, my brain's fried because I'm in the middle of negotiating, or not negotiating, but I'm doing signing an administration publishing deal with Universal Music Group. And so weird, I actually had a meeting with Cobalt in Hollywood, went really well, and then they never emailed, I emailed them, what do you need from me? When can we get this started? T, S-T. What's T? No. Oh, you guys are writing out no. Let's see. There we go. Jim Lee's got it right. Whole, half. Whole, half. Max, you got it. There is no formula for the hybrid. The hybrid is just... It's... because G... The G minor... Yeah. The minor one, yeah. Had a G. Yeah, it's just all the notes. It's a lot of notes. So the notes in the D minor pentatonic, D major pentatonic were D, E, F sharp, A, and B. The notes in the D minor were D, F, G, A, C. Okay? So if we combine all those, we get D, E, F, F sharp, G. So you got 3 half steps in a row right there. A, B, and C. So it's a lot of notes. And like we combine 2 5-note scales, 2 pentatonic scales, and we end up with an 8-note scale, which is 1 more than a diatonic. And you can kind of see that there. You could think of that as a D. You could think of that as a D mixolydian with an F, or you could think of it as a D Dorian with an F sharp. Don't want to crazy. Oh, okay. That's how it's done. Diane, that's funny. I didn't know that. I'm learning something new. All right, hold on a second. I've got... Okay, so yeah, I've got a friend, she's a doll. The funny thing is she's not a lawyer, and she tells me that every time. I'm not a lawyer, but the guy that is the head of Universal Music Group, the president, he's the one I'm working with, and he is like a lawyer. He's an attorney. He's like boom, boom, and you got to be, when you get a contract. Well, so I went to the people that negotiated, that did the producer contract for the Bieber song I had on the last record. They wanted $7,500 to negotiate this, to do the contract. And I'm like, I don't know that I'm going to make $7,500 from the foreign mechanicals on the Bieber record. So I didn't want to pay that much, and so I contacted my friend, and she used to be, for 20 years, she worked at Universal, and she was like, pretty much everybody that works there now, she hired or they worked under her, and she's been retired from there for a long time. But yeah, Pants confirmed. Yeah, Pepper's not here. So anyway, so I've been trying to read through this contract and a lot of legalese, and then my friend, she's been kind of going through it, and here's some things you want to look at, maybe ask about, stuff like that. So, and then she's gonna compare it to a similar contract and see what's going on. But anyway, I mean, I have some family members that are lawyers, but they're not based on the coast, so they're more Midwestern, and they don't see these kind of contracts really ever. So they don't know the jargon or the terminology. My uncle Al, was a federal appellate court judge, federal court of appeals, and he ruled on a major case a Motown case. It was a copyright case, and I think it came. The ruling he came to was that because Detroit was part of his jurisdiction. I think it's Sixth Circuit, Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee. So Nashville and Detroit were both part of his jurisdiction, and he, I think, ruled basically in favor of songwriters, basically stating that you can't give away your songwriting royalties. You can only give away your publishing. And at the time, Berry Gordy was taking everything. So it was like guys would write songs and they'd get like $200, and then Berry Gordy owned the writers and the publishing or something like that. So crazy. Yeah, octatonic, exactly. Okay, so so if we have a whole step, so we're on G, and we want to go up a whole step up from G. I'm going to do this all on the bottom string so we can see it, I think, a little bit. I think you can see it better if I do it on one string. Okay, because it's hard to see whole steps and half steps when you're going between strings. But on a single string, we can build the scale and then go from there. So a whole step up from G is A. There's A flat, there's A. So a whole step on guitar is 2 frets. Then we want another whole step, so up to here, and that's B. Now we want a half step, whole, half. Okay, there's our first tetrachord, right? Remember that? Let's see if I can play that. How can I play? Let's see. I need a G and a B, so there's a G and a B. I need an A and E, so A and C. So technically, that's that tetrachord. Kind of nice, right? That is, I played that X, I hate this, 12, space, 10, space, open, space, X. That's that's an A, a C, a G, and a B. So anyway, don't worry about it. Tetrachord, there won't be a quiz on this. Celebrate. Let's celebrate. I'm not getting enough light in here. Hold on. I feel like it's, I wonder if my bulb is getting darker or something. I don't know. I don't know if this is any better, because that light's actually behind me. That's a little bit better. Okay, so we have whole step, half step. We need another whole step, so that's D. So go up 2 frets, and that's a D. So we have G, A, B, C, D. Up another whole step is E. And then we need another whole step, which is F sharp. And then we need a half step, which is G. So if you don't end on G, you did something wrong. Okay, so we have G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So G is a 1 sharp key. It's the first key in the circle of fifths after C. All right? So, and that makes sense because there's an F sharp, right, on the 2nd fret of the 1st string in the D chord. All right? So now, basically, these lessons right now are on open scales. And open scales are scales that use open strings. These are non-movable scales. I mean, if you use your, if you can't use a capo, you can move them. If you visualize that, the scale that we're going to learn up the neck, yeah, that's totally movable. But you're gonna end up, having to reconstitute it. Okay, so now let's see. We do have notes on the 1st fret. Okay, so we're gonna start with our 3rd finger. So play G on the bottom string, and that's our root. Okay. Well, oh, let me write out the notes just so you have them there. Okay. Excuse me. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. That's our major scale. All right. So 3rd fret, and open A, 2nd fret, that's B. 3rd fret is C, open D string, 2nd fret is E, and then 4th fret is F sharp, and then G, open G, and that's the 1st octave. 3rd fret, open A, B, 2nd fret, C, 3rd fret, open D, 2nd fret is E, pinky is F sharp, and that's the only time we're going to use your pinky. And then open G. And then from open G, the next octave is A, 2nd fret, open B string, First fret on the B string. Third fret is D. So B, C, D. Open E. Then F sharp and G. Backwards, start on G. Third fret. Second fret, which is F sharp. Open E. Next string down is third fret. That's D. And then first fret is C. And then open is B. Second fret. Next string down is A. Open G string. And then reach the pinky out, get that fourth fret. There's your F sharp. It's the only time we use our pinky. And this is the only time we use our first finger. So it's interesting. Almost all the notes. Almost all the notes use your second and third fingers. Not an obscene gesture. Okay. Oh, nice. Evanescence, yeah, it's fun stuff. Okay, so we're on the G string, pinky, F sharp, second finger. Sorry, I was reading Dennis's comment. Dennis. And then open D, third fret with the third finger, C, B, A, and G. All right. Now, because C and D and G are all in the key of G, okay, let me grab that jam. Let's see. Bluegrass. All right, and okay, I'm gonna get an ad. That's okay, I make money. Oh no, there we go. It went to the editing window.
There are a million ways to learn guitar online.
No kidding.
Got video games, the bouncy ball approach.
All right, so. So the jam track, oh, let me send you the link so you have it handy. So funny, I get like 10% dislikes on this. Like, really? So if you go to see this video, go ahead and like it. It's basically G, C, D, G, D to D here. All those notes work, but you do want to kind of acknowledge the C chord and the D chord and stuff, and even over the G chord. I got tune. So, you know, and again, I don't want to confuse you and think I'm like an amazing bluegrass player. I can play at it. And if somebody called me to do a bluegrass record, I'd say, call this guy. So, but for movies and TV shows and things like that, you know, I can totally cover it. Because most of those situations, it's not featured or it's not, you know, they don't want it to be show-offy, usually in the background, that kind of stuff. So, not necessarily a problem. But every one of those, you know, notes will work. Some things I noticed, I mean, like I said, in in a C chord, there's a C and a G. So if you play C and G, it's going to work. And if you play the F sharp, it's fine, especially if you're going from. Because that F sharp is not going to be in the C major scale. C major scale, if you remember, is all white keys, so it's just going to be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So then over the D chord, you know, the C works great because that creates a D7 sound. I love that sound over that's that bit of the scale. And what I'm doing there is I'm going from the F sharp to the C in the key of G. And really, of those 4 notes, F sharp, G, A, 5 notes, B, C, 3 of them are part of a D7 chord. So you're really just using notes to pass from one chord tone to the next. Here's the 3rd of the D. The G is a passing tone to the 5th of the D. And then the B is a passing tone to the 7th of the D7 chord. And I only have a D. Let's see. Dennis. Oh, and I bought, let's see, Songbird Blooms. Nice. Yeah, that's a Rocksmith thing you guys are talking about. Yeah, I have no idea what that is, but it's cool. If it works, that's amazing. Yeah, and I'm sure that all the royalties and all that stuff are taken care of too. So it'd be interesting to see if I ever get any royalties from any of those things, if they ever use one of my songs. I do get royalties from some pretty weird places, so. What am I supposed to post to Discord? That new scale, the hybrid. I could do that. Then I have to buy the cable. So, yeah, let me scan it now and upload it to Discord now. Okay. Oh, and then I need to write out that G scale. All right. So I'm going to re-upload this page because I added that last scale. So you guys can download it and print it and all that stuff. And then I need to print up the diagram so I can, the grid so I can write out these two scales. Because we're going to do another one here in a second. Scan. So let me see if I get the... So yeah, like I told you the other day, it's really hard to title instrumental songs for TV. And so I was using Monty Python and Holy Grail quotes. And so I don't know if you guys have any favorite Monty Python quotes from Holy Grail, post them and maybe I'll use them in the titles. I only need to title one more. I think I've got, we'll just do a batch of 10. These kind of pseudo comedy rock, let's see, desktop. Pseudo comedy rock tracks for the TV show. That just music for them to pull from. Okay, I need to print up the blank one. Sorry, I need to print up some of these. I probably should just do a bunch, but I gotta find it first. Where are you? Oh, there it is. I got all your pictures in here too. It's awesome. Okay. Copies. Let's do 4. All right. Oh, and I'll post a link to the Discord. Okay. So I'm going to the Discord now. Oh no, I gotta save this. Hold on. Okay. Exit. Save as PDF. Come on. Save as PDF. 2.1. Yep. All right. Now, so the Discord is where most everybody here goes before and afterwards and continues chatting because they miss each other. And I'll give you the link first and then I'll upload. Copy. Go down here, post. Okay. Is this the thing you were talking about, reminding me to post? Wow, taking forever for the printer to kind of get going. Wake up. Close. Clear. Good. Now I'm going to go to the homework. So I think it's Tom's bookmarks is what it is. Yep. And that it's going to be the 2.11. All right. Also, I just messaged Kathy. Just said I was praying for her on Twitter, and she said thank you. And I asked her how she's doing, and she didn't reply. But that doesn't mean anything. I don't check my Twitter messages, DMs very often. But these are very, very stressful times for everybody, and very unusual. And a lot of us are, a lot of us are struggling with all sorts of different things. So, not the least of which is being cooped up with your spouse. Is Beth here? I actually couldn't think of anyone easier to be cooped up with. Now, from her perspective, that's not true, but from my perspective, it's totally true. Oh, okay. Yep. So that's uploaded now. Okay. So I printed up some more of these. All right. I don't know. Do you guys have these, right? I can upload that as well. And I'm touching my face so we can take a drink. A sip. So let me write out this G scale. G major scale. Oh, the whole reason I printed this was to use it. G major scale. We need all of these open strings. And I'll put X's through the G's. So the great thing about this scale is you got 3 G's you can land on. So you really do have a lot of root notes. And there's a G in the C chord. There's a G in the C chord, so that, that's a good note to land on there too. It's the 5th of the C chord, but it's also a good note. But it wouldn't be a bad idea when you're kind of playing through this, especially if you've kind of got it down and you're just trying to build up speed. You can do a couple different things. One, you could, I'll use my Django pick, this Wiegand pick. I love this thing. Couple things you can do. One, you can think about what note you're playing. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. You can also think of the relationship to 1. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. That way you're kind of, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can be kind of ingraining some of that information in there. The note names, again, when I've been asked what's... oh, they are. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Thanks, Bruce. When I'm asked, well, what's the most important thing to learn? That's such a huge question. And I get asked all the time too, what cheap acoustics to recommend, and I don't have any recommendations there. You know me and cheap electrics, I love them, but I don't have any real cheap acoustics. But it's a loaded question, but it's a big question, and I always tell people, and my answer for acoustic guitar players is get as many grooves as you can, because everybody tends to go, which is a great groove to get down because it's very usable. You can do a lot of different things with it. Probably because so many people, that's the only groove they knew, so they had to modify it in certain ways, whether it be or they modify that groove in so many different ways just because it's like it's the only one they could play. And then on electric guitar, I always say learn your fretboard, learn the notes up and down. Well, for both those instruments, those are both important skills to have. It's important to have a lot of grooves on electric guitar, and it's important to know your fretboard ultimately on acoustic guitar as well. But it really does start to open up things when you start to learn the notes on the fretboard, because you'll start to see patterns, you'll start to see scales, you'll start to see notes and chords. You'll go, wait a minute, that's the fifth. Oh, if I flat that, that's how you make a flat five, and so on and so forth. So, things become less mysterious when you start to understand and unravel the information that's just sitting there waiting to be learned. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. So if you can kind of start to see the notes in G, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, you can start to learn them down here. It'll transfer up here, especially if you start adding notes up. Like if you go, instead of going D, E, F sharp, G, you go D, E, F sharp, G. Now you know that that's G. Which is a fun sounding part right there, Anyway, okay, so next scale we're going to learn is a C major scale. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and do the same thing we did on the G scale. And let's just learn it we'll do it on the fifth string. So put your first finger on the fifth string, third fret, and we need to go up a whole step, which is 2 frets. That's D. Up another whole step, half step. Okay, D, E, and then half step, F, F. So we have. Now that's the first note that's not in the key of G. All right, the G had an F sharp, so this conflicts with that. But it works great on the C chord. And to be honest, works totally great on the G chord too. All right, but that's because C major is the same notes as G mixolydian, which is the scale we'll learn tomorrow. Except G mixolydian, and when we talked about modes, we learned this kind of stuff. G mixolydian is just C major going from G to G using the notes in C major. Right? It is a bass 6 on the wall. Good eye. Good eye, Andrew. That's a great instrument for getting that 60s sound. I like to double bass on it, so if I do a bass part, you can see the 5 string there. I can double bass, and then if I don't go to the 5th string, I can double it. It just gives the bass a sound. And the thing I love about the bass 6, sorry, Andrew, you got me sidetracked. Squirrel. The thing I love about the bass 6 is that the pickups, it got so many options because it's a Jaguar, which that thing makes me want to buy a Jaguar. Alex is a big Jazzmaster fan, as you all know. If you haven't, I'll put up a link to Alex's. We're trying to get Alex's YouTube channel up to 1,000 subscribers so he can start monetizing. But the Jaguar, there's so many tonal options in that thing with the pickups and all that. You can turn on and off each individual pickup, and then there's like a phasing switch or something like that, and that's really cool. So, but oh, weird, not filling it out. Okay, there he is, 535. Okay, you guys, I know some of you have subscribed. So here's his channel. I mean, you don't have to turn on notifications if you don't want. He mostly talks, right now he's mostly talking about Jazzmaster stuff. If you want to mess with him, say, oh, I really like your Jaguar. He hates that, just so you know. Okay, so, but the thing I like about that is, the strings, it sounds like, it really kind of sounds like, in fact, I'm going to probably use it on a track I'm recording right now. It sounds a lot like if you were to pluck a piano string, like of the bass strings, it sounds like that. It's such a cool, really kind of pseudo tight sound. Now that's a cheap one. That's a Squire. And so it's not, intonation on that thing's not great on the lower frets. If I'm going to play F and I'm not going to play E, then I will tune to that F note. Like I will hit the F note and tune to that, because otherwise it's going to be really sharp if I tune the E to tune and then push that down, because the intonation's not great. So yes, no, I already answered that. Yes, the bouzouki is a gold tone. Kind of have a little relationship with them at the NAMM show. I bought that at the NAMM show. I also bought the Mando guitar, which is cool. I haven't used it in a while. I've got strings. I need to put new strings on it. So yeah, it's kind of weird instruments up there. The Telecaster, that's a baritone actually, Telecaster baritone. And I bought that because I had a Dan Electro baritone, but the Dan Electro has those lipstick pickups and they're so noisy. They're single coils, and most of the time I'm using baritone. It's for really heavy metal type stuff. So I bought that one because I had a humbucker in the neck in the bridge position, and so the pickups, the other pickups sound great. So if I have a cleaner sound with no compression, it's not going to buzz too much. Those pickups sound great. But if I'm going to do gainy stuff, I definitely have to go to the bridge. Otherwise, it's just too buzzy. Josh, what? Oh, Josh Flagg. I'm Stupid Bug for those who see me. Oh, you're on Discord. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's do. Oh, we got to finish the C scale. Sorry. Okay, so C. There we go. Up a whole step to D, whole step to E, half step to F. Now we need whole half. So whole from F is G, whole from G is A, whole from A is B, and then we half is a C. So you can see there are no sharps or flats in this. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now all we have to do is play it across the fretboard instead of up the fretboard. So the notes in there, you guys know this, but if you, like I said, if you go back, D, F, G, A, B, C. Did I do that right? Yeah. Okay. If you go back to the modes lessons, which was of these live stream lessons, it was I think lesson 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 5 lessons starting on 13 talks about modes. And Josh, if you haven't watched those and you don't understand modes, it's a great way to kind of understand music is understanding modes, and each mode has its own sound. So, but this is the Ionian mode, which is major. So we just call it major because that's common nomenclature. Oops. Okay, so let's start with the third fret on the 5th string, 3rd finger, and there's our C. Hit the open D string, and that's our D, the 2, 2nd note in the scale. 3rd note is E, and then we need a half step, which is F, 3rd fret. Open G, okay, which is, that's a 5/6 suspension, you've heard it in rock and roll. Okay, and open B is the, open B is the 7th, and then there's C, the root. And if we keep going, get to D, 3rd fret, open E on the 1st string, 1st fret is F, and 3rd fret is G. And if you want to keep going, you can go 5th fret to get to the A, the 7th fret is B, and the 8th fret is C. Let's continue down. Oh, let's start from the G. Let's go backwards. 3, 1, 0. 3, 1, 0. 2, 0. 3, 2, 0. 3. And then we keep going. 3, 2, 0. 3, 1, 0. And then again up 1 or 0, 1, 3, 1, 0, 2, 3. And make that C chord. And just try to find those notes. I find that is really helpful because so much bluegrass, some of the best stuff is just the stuff that the rhythm players are doing and where they're just kind of messing around. But also a lot of times when you're soloing, you're playing more than one string. One exercise you could do for bluegrass, I found that's a good thing to work on. And remember, bluegrass players are very, very commonly they're using alternating picking. Okay, and so let's say you play this part of a C chord. The E, 2nd fret on the 4th string, open G, and C, okay? So play those three notes. Well, you want to play down, down, up, or down, down, down. But actually, if you play it like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, like that, I'm playing fourth strings, third string, first or second string. I'm doing it with all downstrokes. Now do it with pure alternating. So that makes it really difficult because it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. It's hard, but ultimately what's the way is, I think probably, I hear those triads a lot. Because they're so easy to play on mandolin. Remember, like playing on my mandolin is like doing, like a. Don't make me leave this room. Should I leave the room and get the mandolin? We have consensus on that. You guys are gonna get a sip. It's not a celebratory sip. It's not a punitive sip. It's a fill in the time sip. Okay. Should I go get my mandolin? But basically, I think that guitar players do that in bluegrass because they're copying mandolin players. Like they're playing a mandolin melody, and on mandolin, a triad's super easy. Okay, yes. All right. Bonnie's saying yeah. Bonnie and Leo say yeah. Okay, everybody take a sip while I leave. I'm going to take a sip as I leave. Won't take me long. I've got a ton of instruments hanging in the bathroom, little ones like this. And the reason is, and in the hallway going, can you see like the balalaika? See the balalaika there? Right there, the balalaika on top. And then I think that's a tenor ukulele. I have a baritone ukulele, and I have a bunch of ukuleles, as you know. I have my fretless too. That's hanging in the bathroom too. But the reason I do that is so that I know that I have them. So often I forget I have all these little instruments and they can get buried in the closet. So I just hung them all up because that way if I'm working for a composer and I'm looking for some kind of weird sound, and I haven't used the balalaika yet or anything. I just got that at Christmas time. I've been working on it. It's a very odd instrument. But see, mandolin's tuned in fifths, not fourths. Guitar's still not tuned in fourths perfectly, but obviously the interval between the G string and the B string is a major third. But all the other strings are fourths. And it makes, if you had another tuning, someone was talking about the new C tuning or something like that as a new tuning for guitar players. I don't know. I'd have to experiment with that. Oh, interesting. Okay. That Patrick, I didn't know that. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I when my time comes by Doss. So mandolin is tuned to fifths, like a violin. Same tuning as a violin. I find it's a very fun instrument to play. Some of the chords, like there's G, there's C, there's D. And if you look at, that's G, it's actually upside down the bottom four strings of the guitar. So it makes sense that would be G, because normally you play G like this, right? And then C would be down like this. Well, actually on mandolin, it's like that. And then if you imagine playing a D with your thumb on the F sharp, right? That's kind of what this looks like. Again, it's just the bottom four strings upside down. So, but like, there's a D note right here. The second string from the bottom. And then here's the F sharp, and there's the A, and there's the D. So triads, which are really hard to do on guitar, are like blazing on mandolin, That's F major, G major. And if you want to make it a seventh chord, that's easy too. But it's like playing a pentatonic riff, like a Jimmy Page riff on guitar. It's actually that simple. So, I mean, I say simple, but all right. Now, so the C scale, I'm going to write that one out. And then, like I said, Wednesday we'll do Mixolydian scales. We'll do G Mixolydian, C Mixolydian, and D Mixolydian. D major scale we're not going to do. All right? So C is like here, there, there. We're not going to do, and I'll put X's on the C's. Here's an X right there. Because it really, it has a C sharp in it, and it just doesn't work that good. I mean, it's okay, but if you go to a D major scale over the D chord in a G bluegrass progression, you're gonna paint yourself in a corner melodically. So I'm just save your time for this at this moment and don't worry about it. If we're playing a song in the key of A, then yeah, you're gonna want to know a D scale, but we're not gonna do that yet. If that makes sense. So C major scale. All right. Now Leo may want me to write out D major because he wants to have everything. Yes. Leo, it's exactly like that. Yeah, double strings, and the frets are a lot smaller, so it takes a minute. Well, like just now, I mean, I picked it up. It was like everything feels so tiny, but eventually it you know, you get your fingers there, and you know, a lot of times when I'm playing mandolin, so what I'll do. Is, well, it depends. I mean, if I'm working on a game score and it has mandolin in it and guitar and stuff like that, a lot of times I'll have, like, with this one composer that I work with, Austin Wintry, he'll, you know, there may be 3 or 4 instruments in every cue, and so, you know, with game scores it's weird because, like, it could be the session that I open up could be 17 minutes long or something. But it could break into segments, and there may be only like 3 or 4 segments that I'm playing mandolin on, and 3 or 4 segments that I'm playing acoustic on, and 3 or 4 segments that I'm playing banjo on, or something like that. And but usually what I'll do is I'll do all the mandolin segments because all at once. I'll do all the acoustic guitar segments, and then I'll do all the banjo, and then I'll do all the whatever. And the reason is just because I don't want to do the sections. Mainly because I don't want to be picking up instruments all the time and putting them down and all that, and it saves time. Also, you know, once I start getting my fingers wrapped around, you know, the finger memory of the mandolin, I want to stay in that zone for maybe an hour or 2 while I record those, and then I go to the next instrument and record those. And that's basically that's basically my workflow. It just depends. Now that's a little different if it's really, really complex music. And if every section is very different musically, then I will probably work on the mandolin, get it down, record it, and then while those melodies are in my head, I will pick up the acoustic and do those. And you know, if it's very, very complex stuff, if it's easier stuff, if I can sight read it, then I'm just going to do all the mandolin at once. I'll show you an example of Austin's writing that's so crazy that I worked on, and I'm like, somebody posted, I think it was from 2012 or something. I was shocked at you guys, you subscribed. You got 4 new subscribers. You guys, you're so sweet. So he's up to 539 now. I'm where am I now? I'm almost at 79,000. Can't believe it. That's just crazy. So let me pull up that. I have it in a list. Sorry. My YouTube channel here. My channel. I have it in a playlist that only I can see, and it's basically me. It says something like me on. I should probably make it public. I mean, there's no reason not to. My music and playing on YouTube, I guess. Okay, so no, I don't want that. Let's see. Weird. Okay, that didn't. It's not there, so I must have had another playlist that I did. Nope, go away. I need to do more on sessions. No, no. Weird. Okay, I don't see it here. Oh, Tom's record project. Well, I certainly didn't do anything there, did I? That's not. Wow, that's weird. I'm not seeing all the playlists. Oh, you know what? There's another way to look this up. But you can check this out if you haven't already. It's pretty intense playing, and I remember doing it and almost crying because I was like, I didn't think I'd ever get through all these. There's so many parts. Okay, playlists. Yeah, I think it's here, and then yeah. So many of these have been made private. They were deleted. Wow, what the heck? What was it? See, it doesn't even say what it was. The video is private. Weird. I wonder why they do that. Okay, here it is. Wow. Things got like... you know, it's funny because I had... No. What the heck? What happened to it? All right. I think this is it. I didn't know it was even up there, and then someone emailed me and said, "Hey, can you transcribe this for me?" Like, no. I was like, I don't even know. Here we go. Sorry, people. It's like I'm doing CSI. Oh, thanks, Gary. Yeah, we had fun doing that on Father's Day. Yeah, you should definitely get Leo. You should definitely get a mandolin if you don't have one. If you play violin, you'll be gold. It's a different technique, but I couldn't play violin. I have a violin bow, and bowing is so hard. I'll tell you, the hard thing for me is, you remember when I got that bowed psaltery, is keeping the note ringing. Like when you change direction of the bow, how do you keep it? There's a trick to keeping so it doesn't sound like there's a pause in the stroke. Now, I think orchestras do that because they don't all change direction at the same time unless they're doing like a fast passage or where they want that sound. But if they're doing long, like tied whole notes, I imagine they stagger their bow turns, right? I don't know. Okay, so back to the C scale. Okay, so now again, the C scale is great. The C scale will work on all three chords really, really nice as well. Okay, so it's not just a scale for the C chord. So let me see if I still have that up. Yeah, here it is. Let me just play C scale stuff, and you can listen to it. And it's going to have a little bluesier of a sound because it has an F in it. I want to go to the F sharp. Hear that? Kind of has that blue sound, and it's bluegrass, so why not, right? So yeah, but like I said, the C major scale or I said the scale we're going to learn on, and you kind of already know it, but the scale we're gonna learn on Wednesday is one of them is a G mixolydian, which is basically just a C scale starting on. Shoot, dang it! I'm trying to get the right windows up here. Okay, it's a C scale, starting on G. So and it's like here's the sheet for today. This is all we're going to do today. Okay, two major scales. And I'll scan it and post it. Here's the other one. I'll scan it and post it to Discord, and then we'll add to this tomorrow. We'll do the mixolydians, all three mixolydians, because all three mixolydians are great. D mixolydian really sounds really cool. And then C mixolydian sounds great too. That B flat brings it even more into the blues realm, so you can actually play C mixolydian over the G, the whole progression. Over the D, it's a little weird. There is a D in C mixolydian. It's the B flat that's a little weird. So you can avoid the B flat on the D chord, but. Because C mixolydian is a 1 flat. It's the key of F, which is the same as D minor. So playing D minor scale over a major scale can be a little bit on the weird side, hinky, my wife would say. But yeah, thanks, Leo. It doesn't sound great. I'm fishing. I'm trying not to see. I'm trying to take Steve Lukather's advice. Don't think, play. You know. But it's hard because I'm really trying to stay with the C chord. So I'm having to, instead of just kind of go with what I hear, I'm trying to play within that scale so you guys can hear it. So, okay, so let's review the G scale. Third finger on the bottom string. Okay, then third fret, and then open A, second fret on the second finger on that's your B. Then third fret is C, open D, second finger on the second fret. And then F sharp, which is the fourth finger note on the fourth fret. So it's the only time you're going to use your fourth finger here. And then open G. And then second fret, open B. First fret, C. Third fret, D. Open E. Second fret, F sharp. And then G on top. And the thing that's interesting about... I changed it. The thing that's interesting, I can play scales like faster if I'm fretting every note. That's why you need to practice open scales separately so that you can get them up to speed, because I could play anything. I could play. But for me, that's almost cheating. And the thing is, the open strings are what you want to hear. You really want to be able to play. You really want to hear open strings when you're playing like country, bluegrass, folk, acoustic rock. You want to hear those open strings. So knowing your scales, particularly the basic scales like E, G, C, and D, in open position, can really kind of make your solos and your playing a lot more open. Also, I feel like a lot more acoustic. Like anytime you go up the neck, you're going to get more electric. You know, it's going to sound more like electric. You know, it's like it's going to sound more like an electric guitar in blues or funky or whatever. But if you can do some of those same licks in open position, it's going to definitely take it more in that acoustic country bluegrass realm. But so you almost have to practice them because, you really have to practice them separately because you're so used to when you're playing scales and you're fretting every note, you're used to picking a note when you play it, right? So these two hands are used to working together to create notes. As my friend Michiko Hill says, even a cat can play piano, but a guitar you actually have to manufacture the note. So, you're making these notes, you're creating them by fretting them. And But when you play open scales, there are times when you don't have a finger down and it's really hard to pluck the string. It's like, and I would suggest always pick little snippets, okay? Oh, we're losing viewers. I was doing too much CSI Googling. Pick little snippets like first 4 notes or 5 notes. That's a really good little exercise right there, because what you have is 1 note on a string, then 3 notes on 1 string, and then 1 note. So it really forces. But I still sense inside me and in my hands a hesitation on that open A string and on that open D string, because I'm used to fretting every note. So, you know. Now, and also there's the fact that it's difficult because you're playing you're plucking one string once, and then the next string 3 times, and then the next string once. But that's what makes it a great exercise. And really try to go with alternating picking. And then you could go another note further. You could even just do like 4 notes, or go another note further. Go up another. I'm going up to the F sharp. Now up to the G. That's actually a flamenco exercise that I learned years and years ago. Or similar to a flamenco exercise, where you just keep adding a note to the scale and get it down and keep adding a note. It's a great exercise. The other thing you can do is alternating. That's a really. And again, oh, it's hard. Those kind of things, those kind of actually can go up doing the same. It's harder with open strings. It really, really is. Oh no, your phone was out of juice. Okay, so let's do the C chord again. I mean the C scale again. C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. No sharps or flats. If we're on the piano, it'll be all the white keys. And we'll start on C, which is here, 3rd fret on the 5th string, and we'll go open D, and then 2nd fret, and then 3rd fret is F, open G, and then 2nd fret is A, and then open B, 1st fret is C, so now we've got the full octave. Again, you can do a little exercise where you do the first 5 notes up and down, add the 6th, add the 7th. Like I said, that's hard. That's why you gotta practice open scales separately from your fretted scales. I can do it a lot faster if I can fret every note. It's just because that for years and years of jazz and rock stuff, it was like everything was fretted. You know, you didn't really use a lot of open strings. I mean, maybe you did. You know, you're gonna imitate a Lindsey Buckingham solo or something like that. And a lot of blues players. I find that pentatonic scale, the E minor pentatonic, is pretty easy on in open position because it's made mostly just 2 notes per string, so it's pseudo pattern oriented. But the other thing you could do too. Did we go all the way to the top on C? Yeah, we did. The other thing you could do is on the C scale or on the G scale, practice doing like 5 notes from the C. So but over the G, start on the G and go 5 notes up from the G. And it's the same notes as a G major scale, but you're using C major scale tones. So when the chord is G, and D, you can go to the D one. Sorry, there we go. So here's the G. Uh, but what I'm doing is I'm just playing 5 notes of the C scale, starting on whatever the root note of the chord I'm playing over is. All right? Okay. I know that. I can see eyes glazing over right now. What, Tom? Okay. So what I did was on the C chord, I played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just to get me some notes I know are going to work over C. Okay? The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are always going to work really good on E. Okay, then over the G, I start on a G, and that's the 5 of C. So I'm going 5, 6, 7, 1, 2 in the key of C. But I'm just, basically all I'm doing is starting on G in the C scale, and then going up 5 notes from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when I went to the D scale, I went there, I hit D, E, F, not F sharp. F sharp would be correct for the D chord, but we're playing C major scale over F chord, or over the D chord. So we have that F, and that gives it kind of a bluesy sound. So it's. You can hear the chords change, right? So when I did that, G, C, G, D, G, C, G, D. It's hard to talk and play. And so all that is doing is giving me some dexterity in using different snippets of the C chord, C scale, sorry, in open position, and then practicing changing to accommodate the chords. So it's accomplishing several different goals. And you could go half as fast or very slow. But like I could go. It sounds like it sounds like dueling banjos, doesn't it? But making up your own exercises to work specific problem areas of your playing is one of the best things you can do, because you know better than anyone else where you struggle. And by creating your own, you're helping to find a solution for your problem, but you're also creating essentially content, something that you can use to share with other people. Does that make sense at all? I see no. I think everybody's over at Discord, right? You guys are all just over at Discord talking. I'm muted right now, aren't I? I knew it. You guys are all paying attention. Or as Joey says, I'm sorry. All right, well, now you saw the air quotes. So now, since you have me muted, you can still see the air quotes. So now you know to take a sip. Yeah, Leo, I think that's a great exercise. I mean, I kind of just made it up right now on the fly. But I'm just trying to think of things that we can do that will help you assimilate the scale into the playing. And we can do it with a G scale too. The C will be interesting. I mean, that F sharp over the C is kind of cool. So basically, I was just using the G scale like I was using the C scale, and the sorry, I gotta mute that. Okay, the notes I was playing over the C chord was C, D, E, F sharp, G, because those are the notes that are in the key of G. So. Right? Okay, you're diligently paying attention. Well, that's good. Oh, you're working on chromatic scale. Oh, when? Chromatic is just every fret. And on those hybrid scales, notice that there were a lot of, like on the D major. A lot of, there's some passages of 4 chromatic notes in those hybrid scales. So yeah, we could talk about that at some point using chromatics. I use them all the time for things like that. It's just really cool. You got to make them musical though. You can't just go. Although I think George Benson would do that a lot. Like you'd be playing over like C major chord and you go just like what? And I was like, when I figured it out, what he was doing. It was like, that's freaking brilliant. But he's starting on 9th, so it has this kind of really beautiful, and it's just a flurry. He was so clean. And then he ends up on the B natural, which is the major 7th. Yeah, that's hard. It's all about. It's kind of I start with an upstroke, seems to help. You taking notes for later? Okay, good. Okay, so and there's if you're playing a G major scale, it doesn't mean you can't go to G minor pentatonic or G major pentatonic. Again, you should be able to jump around. Ultimately, you should be able to jump around from all of those. You might be able to create some exercises where you play up. That's kind of a cool exercise. So what I did there was I went G major scale up, and then I went pentatonic scale down. Okay. Let me try a different thing. Now, another exercise would be G major scale up, C major scale down from the G. See how I go for F sharp going up and F natural coming down? Really gives it kind of a bluesy sound, but very happy. And that would be something that would work really well, like if the... It would work really well because you're switching right in the middle from G scale to C scale. Or we could go G major scale up to G minor pentatonic down. Let's see. It's kind of cool. We could do blues down. Shoot. Hold on. Let me get this down. Ah. You love to see me struggle. I know you do. You can't spell it, girl from Ipanema. Let's see, was it? I used to know it. Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I played Girl from Ipanema. strings are too low on this guitar. All right, so let's see what else. Yeah, no, I struggle every day. I had to be able to do that, yeah. Nah. Yeah, I might do more. Might do something where I go G scale up to the octave, to G, and then from there pentatonic or blues. Nah, hold on. It's kind of cool. I mean, that might be something that I would just naturally just kind of come up with. I wouldn't think about it. I would just do it. As I'm kind of, again, once you get the scales, these scales, and the great thing about this too is that you can just concentrate on this, the jam track that and remember there's a speed control, so you can slow it down like that. If you go to the little wheel there, it says HD on it or whatever, you can change the speed. So you can go down 75% or down 25%. So this is 75 beats. I mean, it really is, being able to slow it down really makes it, you're much more able to kind of create melodies or ideas that sound more bluegrassy. I think that it's such a great tool. So. And again, anything that works over G is going to work over the E minor. Well, maybe. The G. Now, I don't know if the G minor blues works over the E minor. So if there's a minor sub in a song, you might have to accommodate that a little bit more. The minor, we didn't do the blues major, the major blues, which is not really major blues. Yeah, I guess kind of, I forget I don't even have a name for it, but basically it's the same as this one, only thinking of the, it's hard to explain, but I'll try to remember to teach this one. Teach that one next, maybe Friday. So next lesson we're going to do on Wednesday is going to be Mixolydian scales. And you've already kind of got some. I mean, you've already been doing the G Mixolydian one when we've been playing the C. So, let's see. What else? Any other questions here? Get the mandolin. I wonder how well I can solo. Yeah, I'm not a great soloist on mandolin. Although I probably would just, you know. Yeah, you really. Yeah, it'd take me a minute to get the mandolin, like to get in that zone, and I'm not there today. But my brain is fried. Legal documents will do that. So, all right. So until tomorrow, or until Wednesday. Was this lesson 80? Is that right? Yeah, I think it's 80. Yeah, number 80. That's crazy, huh? I can't believe y'all have been there. Yep. Mando said, oh, right. I changed guitars. Yeah, no. Let's see. What else? See, I got one of those guitar stands yesterday. Oh, nice. Oh, good. Oh, one of the, yeah, one of these. I know. I really like it a lot. I really like those a lot for some reason. I'm not a fan of just the standard, the cheap ones you get. You can get like 5 for $1. I've just seen too many guitars fall out of them, and then they break. And these, there's no weld on this, which is nice. I've had one of these break, but it was something on the bottom. It was like a piece of plastic that broke. Oh, nice. So, David, you're doing a podcast, Drama Friday with Americans. I hope everyone has a happy week. Maybe, David Sillers, are you on the Discord? You can maybe post a link to the podcast if anybody wants to tune in. You said it's a drama, so like it's a play kind of thing. That sounds like fun. Old radio plays, that whole thing, kind of a cool thing. So anyway, but yeah, we're gonna we'll pick up with Mixolydian scales on Wednesday. So I will talk to you later. I think. Oh, I have to scan and upload the 2 scales for today. So I'll do that right now, and I will talk to you soon. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for watching.